Howdy neighbor, how is your garden growing? My garden, well, it's hot, it's humid, and I've been trying to stay inside and stay a little cool. But with that time inside, I've been doing a lot of thinking about my vegetable garden. I've been thinking about what went well and what things I want to improve on. And I've been spending a lot of time looking back through my notes on what varieties did well, timing. And as I looked back between my last year planner and this year planner, one of the things that kind of hit me that was a challenge for me as we headed into the fall vegetable garden season. Well, there were more than one challenges, including an entire hurricane. But when it comes to challenges, we can only focus on the ones that we have some control over. And one of the things that was in my control was the fact of how I got ready for that fall vegetable garden season and winter vegetable garden season specifically. Now, one of the things that when I was looking back at the beginning of our vegetable garden season, and that was in my control, was basically the starts that I was going to go and put in ground. I felt personally like I could have had a lot more starts, plus some better varieties chosen to get myself in a really good space for August and September and October. But some of the things that I needed that I didn't have in place last year that I want to make sure I put in place this year, and I wanted to make sure I shared with you guys so that you can think about doing this too, is a couple of things. One of the big things is when you hit fall season down here in Florida, it's really hard to find seeds. One of the big challenges when we hit fall vegetable gardening season is that if you're going to go to a big box store like Home Depot or Lowe's, the amount of seeds that are available are just super limited. Even when you look online, a bunch of varieties that you might be considering, especially when I was like looking at strawberries, they were basically sold out and they were prepping for the north, which was then, way later than what we needed. So one of the things that I made a note for myself to do this summer was to go start buying seeds for fall and winter now. I wanted to make sure before all the inventories were completely depleted from all the northerners and us southerners, that I had a good supply of the seeds that I wanted to make sure that I could start for our fall and winter season. Because as many of you know, if you go to the big box stores come like August, September, and goodness gracious, come Halloween, they even chuck perfectly good seeds. Although we did find a couple of the big box stores, like a large Home Depot near me, that actually did still have seeds, but the supply was pretty limited. So what I've been doing this last week is I've been starting to put together a list of seeds that I want to start going and buying. And while I've been doing some cleanup for this summer to make sure that we're in a really good spot for fall, one of the things I also did is that a couple of the varieties of vegetables that were doing really well this year, I allowed them to bolt. That way I can go and collect seeds for my awesome carrot harvest and my really good lettuce harvest. And that way, instead of buying starts or transplants again, I'm just gonna go and use those seed varieties. And then the other thing I've been doing is going through my entire inventory of seeds that I currently have, because you may be like me and you impulse buy seeds, and so you have an insane amount. And so by doing that inventory, I'm starting to think through how I'm going to lay out which seed packets I'm going to use when we hit fall / spring / winter. Winter comes in between fall and spring, so that I make sure I have like enough. But because you guys know, some seed packets, like there's so many in there, you can use them for multiple years, and others it's like, here's 10 seeds. I just want to make sure if I need to go buy some more, I do that. I'm also focusing on some of my warm to hot weather crops that are still growing and producing, that I am setting aside some of those so that I have seeds from them. There are some varieties that honestly, when I've been looking online, it just seems like maybe I can find some seeds, maybe not, but I definitely was able to buy transplants from the big box stores and some of my local nurseries. But because they're not going to have those available until basically late winter, early spring, I want to make sure I capture some of those seeds so I can go and start plants for my fall season. So let me share some of the vegetable varieties that I'm trying to make sure that I have seeds ready so that I can have a more successful vegetable garden next year. And I want to hear from you guys too. What varieties did amazing for you? Whether it was tomatoes, peppers, lettuces, onions. Oh man, I learned so much about onion varieties from y'all this last winter. Yes. Those down in the comments below, and make sure you read each other guys' comments. You guys give so much valuable information that it is so important that you guys check out what others have to say, because there is a wealth of knowledge in this Wild Floridian community. Let's talk some of the varieties that I'm going to be making sure that I am ready to grow come this fall, winter, and spring. So as I'm thinking about my vegetable garden season as we go fall into next year, and I think about tomato varieties, those are going to be some of the seeds that I'm going to be starting first. So I need to make sure that I have enough of those seeds so that I can make a pretty good crop and make a pretty good dent into, what I want to go and grow. And of course, we're going to be doing Everglades tomatoes. I honestly I think I still have some seeds, but I don't even need to worry about it. So many of them always fall that they're just going to pop up all on their own. Plus the birds ate some, and I'm sure I'll find transplants somewhere in this yard that I can just relocate. One of the things I really want to focus on is some of the larger varieties in the fall time period. Because when we're thinking about fall tomatoes, right, that means that they're going to be producing their fruit in the cooler months, especially for people like me who are in zone 10A / Central Florida. Kind of depends. I'm a funky zone. Kind of get the best of two worlds. I'm in a funky zone, just to be clear as I talk about some of these things. I live in zone 10A, but honestly, what it means is that I don't get as cold as like a zone 9B, but I don't get as hot as a zone 10A. I'm just in that like in-between space. So one of the things we need to think about, especially as we go into winter out of fall, if you're starting tomato plants, is that I really want to focus on in the fall making my large variety tomato starts. I'm going to be putting a lot more effort into Roma tomatoes. Plus I'm going to be looking into some other larger varieties that do well in the South. I'll probably be using a seed company, Southern Exposure, to get some of those seed varieties. So I'm going to make sure that as we head into the warm season for the spring, I'm going to definitely make sure I have things like Sweet 100, cherry tomatoes, and grape tomatoes, just because they produce a lot and they're a little bit meatier than what you would get with an Everglades tomato, but they can go deeper into the season for production. Next thing that I'm really thinking about, well, for us, we love salsa, and I've been getting really good at canning salsa in my pressure canner. Well, I guess it's technically water bath canning, but whatever. It's water bath canning in a pressure canner. And I have put away so much salsa, and I want to make sure I continue to be able to do that, because even as much as we can, we blow through it really fast. So a lot of the tomatoes, when they're not being used in some sort of fresh dish, they get canned into, of course, salsa. That means I need peppers to go into my salsa. And the ones that I like putting in there, plus grow really well here, is gonna of course be jalapenos. Jalapenos, 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 all day jalapenos. Love me some jalapenos. And my jalapenos in the back garden are just like, there's a lot, and I'm excited. One that I like to throw into the salsas is those banana peppers that I got the starts for last year. They've produced really well, and I need to make sure that I collect enough of the seeds. And the last couple times that I went and I made salsa, I did save the seeds, but I mixed them all together. Probably not the smartest idea, but I'm definitely gonna be saving seeds from my banana peppers to be adding to more mild salsas, / we just use them. Maybe I wanna pickle more next year. And for me, I love peppers and I love snacking on peppers, and my neighbors gave us those ají peppers, aka ají dulce peppers, which are great little popper snacker type peppers. Definitely recommend. They have just the tiniest of bites to them, and they are just great if you like a little tiny bit of spice in your life and you want to eat it fresh. Definitely ají pepper. This is the ají. Look at all these little guys. Oh my goodness, I haven't been picking enough. And they're so good, so good. Yeah, I just need to move these out of this bed. And with these ajíes, because they're a little bit harder to find, is that I'm letting these dry out so that I can go ahead and just get these seeds. As you can see, I got a bunch of peppers under there. And then when it comes to just kind of more like a bell pepper, I continue to find that bell peppers do fine. And I tried those California Wonders and they did not great. I just honestly, for the amount of space that they're being given, I do not feel like these are the peppers to grow, at least in my zone. But what has been hands down last year and this year great producers is Cubanelle peppers. If you're into bell peppers, but you've been really frustrated about how they produce down here in Florida, I highly recommend go do Cubanelle peppers. See, when it comes to peppers, they originate out of the Caribbean, and the way that they developed a mild pepper was the Cubanelle. So it's really common to places like Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the islands down in the Caribbean. Big difference, I would say, between a bell pepper and a Cubanelle pepper is really just the thickness of the wall of the pepper. When it comes to spice level, heat level, crunch, I feel like they're pretty comparable. But Cubanelles actually have they just have like a thinner wall to them. So, I mean, it makes it easier to cut, and it makes it easier if you're eating them in things like salads. It's way easier. And if you're really into Italian dishes, actually one of the other areas of the world that uses a lot of Cubanelle peppers is Italy. Right over here, this is another seed that I'm saving, but you definitely can buy it because that's how I originally got it. These are carrots, and I am letting these seeds dry out because we had an awesome carrot harvest this year. So much so, because the reason I grow carrots is for Ben, because he likes to snack on carrots. I'm not a big fan of carrots, or at least I wasn't. But because we had so many carrots and Ben was feeling a little overwhelmed by eating them all, I was like, here, I'll eat some for a snack one day. and something changed in my brain, and I am now obsessed with carrots, and I eat carrots almost every day now. We're out of our own crop, so now we're buying them, but that means this coming year, I need lots of carrots. I need a lot of carrots. I eat them. I eat so many. I eat them like lunch. Forget lettuce salads. I've been all about like just eating carrots. I want to make sure I capture a bunch of my carrots. I've been using them just fresh till they all ran out. Plus, we used it to make some of our vegetable stock, which I have a ton of now. So I want to make sure that I capture these carrot seeds. And there were two varieties. Well, I guess it's more than one variety. My kids always like to buy those rainbow carrot packets because the colors. So there were rainbow carrots and then Little Gem. And I think Little Gem was the one that just produced amazingly. And I want to make sure that I just get a lot more. So I had a little bit more of this Little Gem. So I got lots of seeds. So I'm going to be starting a lot of that. A lot. Other things that came out a little bit later, so I want to make sure that I do it by seed, was onions. There were onion starts I was able to find, and you guys were able to find too at places like Walmart and some Home Depots and Lowe's. But some of the varieties that I picked out, I think it was like the 1050. I'll put the name right here. It's supposed to be grown in October. And by the time they became available to us, it was like February. And so because they started so late, I didn't get a good crop. I want a better crop. We use a ton of onions, whether it's in our green onion soup, / chilies, / everything. We eat a lot of onions. So I want to make sure that I get some more. And I will not make the mistake of grabbing Walla Wallas this year. I will also be doing a lot of green bunching onions because they're so easy. And I've figured out a way that I can go can my green onion soup, just removing the cream element. So I want to be able to do that because I'm really into canning whole meals. So when it comes to purchasing onions, I'm going to be looking a lot at my short day onions because here in Florida, we're short day. It's weird because it's hot, so you think long day, but long days are like Alaska. They have longer days. But here in Florida, the days, the hours, they really don't change that much. So short day it is for us. So I'm going to be looking up short day varieties so that I can have a really good early start. Another thing that I want to make sure I grow a lot of is going to be, of course, lettuces. The oak leaf lettuce did really well for us. It was like an oak leaf romaine. I did see those at the big box stores. I don't want to keep paying for all these starts, so I'm definitely keeping a bunch of the seeds from that variety. Plus we've done butter crunch and just kind of classic romaine lettuce that I think you can get from like Burpees or whatever those common seed companies that you find at the store. Those worked really well historically, and I have a whole bunch of seeds saved from the year before, so we're definitely going to be doing way more of that because we ate a ton of salads, like a lot. One of the things I'm going to be doing differently is I'm really not going to focus on spinach, but what did grow really well, and I only bought one plant, was that dino kale. It's actually still going even though we're in the summer. So I'm going to focus on that as a spinach alternative for our morning smoothie because that's done way better than any of the spinaches I bought. But I would love to hear if you've had a spinach variety that worked for you, let me know. And then when did you plant it / what area do you live in? So I can figure out if I go earlier or later on that front. Other thing that worked really well for us was it called Ping Tang eggplants. Totally, Freda gave me that idea / gave me plants last year, and they worked awesome. Like really, really awesome, to the point where we were like, oh my God, what are we doing with all these eggplants? The answer, you guys said it, Ben said it, it was baba ganoush. And I enjoyed that baba ganoush, and I really enjoy kind of those Mediterranean pita style, and then you get that fresh crunch in there. Yeah. Now where I could use some help is cucumbers. I've done some varieties of cucumbers before and they did fine. Cucamelons of course grow really well, but I do want to get a bigger cucumber. So I would love to hear from you guys. What variety of cucumbers have you done that have worked really well? Now when it comes to squashes for us, we just continue to focus on Seminole pumpkins, which you could pick up from Southern Exposure. They just keep going and they're so low maintenance. I just can't see myself really using anything else. Now, while I didn't focus on growing it this year, I will be growing it again next year once I deal with some shade challenges. And that's gonna be loofah, though I don't need to worry about seeds for that, but that's gonna be the other area where I'm gonna do more kind of that zucchini squash by using the younger ones, which worked well last year. I just didn't realize it until it was too late in the season. And that plant, whew, you don't need to plant a lot, and that thing goes crazy. So that's kind of where I'm going with squashes. I don't know that I really want to grow a lot of other squashes. And then I know you can get into melons too, but we have so much papaya here. But maybe you can't grow papaya because you live in North Florida. So there are a lot, I know a lot of people grow watermelons. I just usually don't dedicate the space to watermelons because we just don't eat enough watermelon to make it worth it. But maybe we would. Maybe it will be like the carrot situation again. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. What do you guys think? Okay, so we hit tomatoes, onions, carrots, lettuces. Oh yeah, Ben was saying we should really up the amount of beets that we did, because we did a little bit of beets, not a ton, but we just ate this hummus at Disney. It was a beet hummus and it was black garlic, beets, so good. It was so good. I don't even know how to explain it. It was so good. I want to make more of that. So I'm gonna grow some beets this year. I'm gonna grow more beets this year so we can do that. I wonder how like a beet slash black garlic slash baba ganoush would taste. You know, sounds good. I don't know. The whole thing, oh, so good with fresh pita bread, so good. And the other thing that I'm gonna be focusing on a little bit more next year is gonna be herbs, because I've got an idea for the back garden of how to rearrange it, and I think I've got a good spot for growing herbs. But this year we grew everything from echinacea, though we didn't really use it. It was more for the pollinators. We've used our dotted horse mint bee balm, which I had so much from last year. I haven't needed to touch any of this, but who knows, maybe I'll have to jump into it. But I'm really looking into thinking about, oh, we had some basil that did really, really well, and it's still going, and it hasn't bolted yet. I know, even in the heat of the summer. So I will definitely grab seeds from that one to make sure that we can use it next year. Yep. So I got some notes I need to go and take. Yep. I need to start really laying this out so that I can make sure I order seeds this coming week. And I hope this helps you do the same. And if you want to learn way more about Seminole pumpkins and why you should grow them and why they're ridiculously easy, go check out this video right here. Or if you need to just like get a list together and get some stuff done this summer because it's hot, get some maintenance motivation from this video right here. Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye.